Are we on 10? 10, 10.
Hello. Thank you for tuning into No Fear OC Network's new series titled #BanHate, where we collectively come together to talk about a list of discussion topics happening in our Orange County, California community. So today is volume 2. Therefore, we'll be discussing about Aliso, Viejo, California, and its city council members and mayor, as well as their meeting last week, which was Wednesday, May 13, 2019. And so, first and foremost, or just topics of discussion, is just, once again, what's #BanHate? And #BanHate, just a little bit about it, is that we began it and still are a for us, by us social media collective on Facebook Messenger. The purpose of #BanHate is to challenge ourselves and our community to reject hate amongst ourselves and our world. No Fear OC Network is continuously looking for folks and community participation and members to help broaden and expand #BanHate. Therefore, it's under a new development project titled Third Eye Project, meaning the letter I, but we totally support if you thought of the other I. Third Eye Project's purpose is to collectively apply self-reflective practices where we learn to properly, this is where the I's come in, to properly ingest, invest, and intersect about our evolving selves and world physically and mentally. And so this is just like, along the same lines of how it aligns, how these three I's align with No Fear OC Network, where where we say no fear in health, that's where we physically and mentally properly ingest. Where we say no fear in education, that's where we physically and mentally invest in ourselves, in our world, and in our community, as well as no fear in public service. That's where the intersection comes in and all that stuff. And so for all of that, the outcome of #BanHate is to become self-reflective of who we're becoming, as well as the community we're living in. And the plan is to begin critiquing and analyzing our county and city meetings and how it's being shaped through our elected government officials. So please tune in daily while we begin to discuss and inform about county and city meetings, events, and Orange County, California news. Disclaimer. Please note, we're not professionals, just community residents collectively coming together, analyzing and critiquing our present and current worlds. With that being said, No Fear OC Network is an Orange County, California community-based multimedia educational production network of challenging ourselves and others, with our motto being to see us as we see you, hear us as we hear you. So basically, in a nutshell, don't judge us by the surface area, of like what or how we look. It's just similar to how We grew up back in the day of don't judge a book by its cover, where we say no fear in health, no fear in education, no fear in public service, in which we learn to collectively learn and apply our interconnected community resources by examining, dismantling, and helping to overcome our social, economic, and intellectual barriers of fear, which we define as false evidence appearing real within our communities in order to rebuild a more nurturing and sustainable tomorrow. So, we're a nonpartisan and not-for-profit collective. We just analyze. We don't promote political parties, just local community events, issues, and news. So we'll move on to our next topic of discussion, which is a brief background of Aliso, Viejo, California. So we'll focus on the city's beginnings and how it became incorporated into Orange County, California in summer 2001, which is less than 20 years ago. So first off, what does incorporated mean? Well, based from the CambridgeDictionary.org, incorporate means a couple things. To include, one is to include, such as to include something within something else. And two is to make a company, meaning to make a business into a corporation, which then means business protected by specific laws. So just remember from our previous volume 1 of understanding the importance of Board of Supervisors and City Council members. Remember, they're the ones that make and plan policy and implement / put into action our local government laws, which that is like ordinances. So I'll share the link below of the definition of incorporate means. And so if you like this tune, I hope you do, from Tame Impala, pick it up. So just continuing from this definition of incorporated. So Aliso Viejo became incorporated in Orange County, California on July 1st, 2001 due to the efforts of the Aliso Viejo Cityhood 2000 committee. So this is how voting matters in your local community, because due to the efforts of this committee back in 2000, they were responsible for introducing an initiative on the ballot for the 2001 special election. So voters, passed the initiation with 93.3% in favor of incorporation. So yeah, like this is where your vote matters. Stuff like that. If you're like wanting to know like where your vote matters in these elections in your local government, they do. Like you can implement a city, So you can find this info on the City Aliso Viejo, California website on cityofalisoviejo.com. I'll put the website link on the more info box. Also note, the city is home to the headquarters of several large corporations and stuff. So that's something to really look into and to know about Aliso Viejo. They have several large corporations. And so, as a general law city, the city of Aliso Viejo develops policies and procedures in accordance with California state law. And Aliso Viejo contracts many of its services, including police, fire, legal, public works, a lot of things that you need to function a city. They contract those services, so it's not like city run, I guess. Next topic of discussion will be just general information about city council. You can find more info if you go to the City of Aliso Viejo website at www.cityofalisoviejo.com. And just briefly, that they hold their regular city council meetings on the first and third Wednesday of each month at 7 p.m. And just next topic is just like, who are the Aliso Viejo city council members and the mayor? And they have 3 council members with a mayor and a mayor pro tem. And it doesn't look like they're in designated districts, but the city council members are elected to a 4-year term. The selection of mayor and mayor pro tem are filled by city council members by a vote of the majority of those members. So we'll provide the link below in the description box. So just highlights of last week's city council meeting. And you're probably wondering why are we doing Aliso Viejo first and not all the other ones? And I'm doing the Aliso Viejo just because it was first on the list. When you go to like ocgov.com and type in cities and you go to Aliso Viejo, but then also too, it was just interesting of just looking at their agenda and seeing that they're recognizing certain issues that are happening within, just nationally and globally as well as locally. And just for us about, if you want to look at the video and the agenda, you go to the city of alisoviejo.com / council meetings. And so this last week, Wednesday, May 15th, 2019, the regular meeting is about an hour and 4 minutes long. And there's no video for closed session or special meeting, but to our surprise, that on the agenda there's a litigation, which means the process of taking legal action that I'm gonna say allegedly, just because we're not here to get fined or sued or anything, but HHROC, Housing is a Human Right Orange County, it looks like that they're suing. They're in litigation of Orange County and its affiliates. So wow. Right on, HHROC, right on. So just on Aliso Viejo's agenda is that they honored a local business, which was Chemistry. So if you're in Aliso Viejo, check out Chemistry. It's a family-owned business, or the location in Aliso Viejo it's like family run, because it was just very cute and interesting to see the family and the kids come up. They're already professionals and ready to own the business, I guess. But definitely check out Creamistry. And also on the agenda, they recognized and honored Harvey Milk Day by a proclamation. And what a proclamation is just an official announcement. So we'll talk more detail about that later on. And they also recognized Mental Health Month, as well as recognized Drowning Prevention Month, and did a presentation about Heartfelt Cardiac Project. So what we'll go ahead and do is just listen to the presentations, because they can say it better than I can and everything like that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and listen to the presentations.
The next presentation is a proclamation in honor of Harvey Milk Day. Here to accept the proclamation and tell us more about Harvey Milk Day is Peg Corley, the Executive Director of the LGBT Center in Orange County. And Peg's important work is known throughout the county, and so I'm really happy to have her here, and thank her for talking with me earlier this week and coming by. So maybe we can invite Peg to come up and tell us a little bit more about the work she's doing and her center is doing. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad that y'all reached out to us, and we're very, very honored to accept this proclamation. Harvey Milk and I share a birthday, May 22nd, so when I have an opportunity to honor him, it kind of hits me close to home for a couple of reasons. Harvey Milk was the first American politician to be openly gay who was elected in the state of California to serve public office. He was elected to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, where he only served less than 11 months before he was assassinated, sadly. But during his time in office, he did some very important work for San Francisco and important work for the LGBTQ community. He sponsored and helped pass a bill which banned, what is one of the first bills of its time, that actually banned discrimination in public accommodations, so in the hotel industry, in housing, and in all employment on the basis of sexual orientation. And those types of bills have stayed and have been present ever since then, and we owe that to Harvey Milk's his vision of freedom and inclusion in our communities. He was a visionary. Harvey Milk envisioned a world where each and every one of us was free to live an authentic life, exactly as the person who we are and who we're meant to be. And he created a life's work and a legacy in bringing that vision to reality. And he moved us all forward in leaps and bounds in the work that he did. He was seen as a bit of a rebel rouser in his day, and he rocked the boat a bit, and he challenged status quo every chance he got. But I think it's important to note now, years later, that he landed on the right side of history, and his work has made a difference for all of us. He also served his country in the Navy, and that's not perhaps a real broadly known fact, but he served his country both in public office and in the military. And let's see, his vision of everyone being free to live an authentic life, I think is what really propels us forward now in our work. In one of his most famous quotes, he said, "Hope will never be silent." And in that spirit, organizations like ours, the LGBT Center Orange County, and other organizations that serve the LGBT community and advocate on their behalf, we can't be silent. And the most marginalized people in the broader county that we live in, if you think about that, that could be in intersectionalities of various minorities, and where, for example, the immigrant population meets LGBTQ, that's a pretty marginalized population, so we advocate for them. Where youth meets LGBTQ. It's very marginalized seniors, LGBTQ. These are folks who sometimes need a little bit of assistance or a little bit of support in um, finding success or finding their own path in lives, especially the youth in school. One thing that the center is doing is we're advocating for the implementation of the California Healthy Youth Act in schools. So there is current legislation in California, it's already been passed, that sexual and health education in middle schools and high schools needs to be culturally inclusive for LGBTQ youth. And even though that legislation has been passed, many schools in Orange County, sadly, have not implemented that kind of inclusive curriculum. And that is, that's one challenge that we're facing today in Orange County, being LGBT. If our youth, if any young person in school does not see themselves in the curriculum, in the classroom, or in campus life, they do not feel safe in school. And they don't even have to be bullied. But if they don't see themselves reflected in what's happening in their surroundings, in their environment, they withdraw and they don't feel safe. So we're working very hard with school districts, with boards, Orange County Department of Education, to help make sure that CHIA, California Healthy Youth Act, is in fact enacted. So if you guys are parents and if you are at all involved in your children's school, please know that that is something that we need help with, making sure that our curriculum is inclusive for all of our youth. And as far as the center, may I just say a couple of words? Okay. The LGBT Center OC is actually the 4th oldest LGBT center in the country. So a lot of people don't know that that Orange County has a center. We do. We serve over 12,000 people a year. We serve youth. We are in schools. We send our staff to support gay straight alliances in schools throughout Orange County. We serve about 46 of those. We serve seniors. We offer mental health counseling on a sliding scale, HIV and STI testing. We're all about health and wellness and advocating for the LGBTQ community and allies. And we're also in immigration services, because a lot of, if you can imagine, folks flee their home countries today because they're being persecuted for being LGBTQ. And they come to the United States. And often they come here illegally, so they find themselves in detention, in ICE detention. So if the LGBT centers do not advocate for these folks, no one's advocating for these folks. So we find ourselves doing that work as well. So I want to thank you for your support for our community. I want to thank the city of Aliso, Viejo for your support for our community. And I look forward to cultivating the partnership further. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing, because I'm glad that you mentioned CHIA, because we, at least in Aliso Viejo, have a very large school district that we're part of, the Capistrano Unified School District. And our school district and our school board represent over 50,000 students. And they worked very hard to implement CHIA and went to the extra lengths to actually form a citizens advisory committee and give the public the opportunity to evaluate and respond to a lot of the questions that were being posed, and also to investigate a lot of the misinformation that was being circulated. And it was a lengthy and I'd have to say it was a painful process for many who were part of that review. The meetings went after midnight. So that's a long meeting for a board of trustees. But our district worked very hard to make sure that all questions were answered and all information was clarified. And so even after the legislation passed, CHIA was just recently implemented by the school district that covers our city. And it was not an easy task, but I think that all the parents, the PTA parents, and all of the Citizens Advisory Council left that review feeling comfortable that they got the information that they needed. And so we were all, as parents and as members of this community, proud that we were able to take part in that process and happy with the results. So thank you very much.
Me personally, I don't know a lot about Harvey Milk, unfortunately. He wasn't really talked about in my schools when I was growing up. But I just remembered the biopic of him by Sean Penn, like back in 2000, I think, like 2010. And so that's kind of all that I knew about Harvey Milk before hearing what the executive director from the LGBTQ Orange County said about him. And so what's really great is that, you know, he banned discrimination in public accommodations. So, you know, banning discriminations like, you know, for us to get like hotel rooms, or just wanting to, you know, be in public facilities. So he really pushed forward, you know, the civil rights, you know, era that I think this was back in the 80s, I want to say. I know that I need to do more research on Harvey Milk. For those that are listening, if you already know about Harvey Milk, please put it down in the description box so that we can really honor him and highlight him. And just the fact that his birthday is coming up, so happy B-Day, Harvey Milk. Yesterday was Malcolm X, so I don't know, May is popping. But just continuing on Harvey Milk, is that he was a board supervisor in San Francisco. He was elected, and the fact that he was openly gay, yet he served for our country, you know, in the military, fighting for our country in the military, as well as, you know, politically. That's very revolutionary. And just remember, like, the Board of Supervisors, they oversee management of the county government. You know, they're the ones that make laws. They're the ones that put power, you know, to the plans and actions for, like, laws or, you know, ordinances to take effect. And so the fact that he really initiated this, I believe it's a bill. I know I have to look more into it. But the fact that he went ahead and initiated a ban, you know, a ban against hate, a ban against discrimination, for us to just enjoy our lives. And the fact that his was just, you know, that's how we're supposed to live our lives, or just for us to be okay, you know, of just who we are, you know, and just to stop self-hating, you know, ourselves. And it's just very unfortunate that not even a year in his board of being a board of supervisor, that, you know, he was assassinated. So that really says, you know, a lot about our society and our government. And because it's like, you know, the fact that you guys were recognizing and honoring Harvey Milk Day, yet, you know, y'all are willing to talk the talk but not walk the walk, you know, to just give the executive director of the LGBTQ Center like a plaque. Like, no, if y'all are really saying, you know, we're about inclusivity and, you know, we want everyone to feel like they're being represented, then put the flag up, right? I would say. So, but it's just that, you know, and then how she talked about the California Healthy Youth Act. And, you know, I just want you all to look at the demographics of Aliso Viejo. You can look at it at, like, just go to the city of AlisoViejo.com, and then from there it's like their about, and then just go to general information or about, or I think there's a demographics tab, and let's just kind of go from there. But moving on from that, let's continue with the mental health.
So our next presentation tonight is an important topic, and a topic that's on many, if not most, of our minds here in this community and in the surrounding communities. And it is the topic of mental health. We've all seen incidents and conditions that become intolerable for those suffering with mental health conditions. We've also seen in our immediate community adolescents who are suffering and need help and need attention put to this very important topic. Our middle school, Don Juan Avila Middle School, recently hosted a parent night with a nationally known expert on adolescent mental health and teen suicide prevention. And that was a huge event. I typically go to the PTA. I'm on the PTA board, and I go to those events. And this one was so large and so well attended because it is so widely known that this is a very important concern in our community. Soka University, also independent of our middle school, hosted an event as part of its series on critical conversations. And they actually had the chair of behavioral health from Johns Hopkins University, and then also the founder of an organization called Active Minds, which is a nationally known and actually a national presence in universities in every state in the country that offer support to college students who have mental health concerns and need assistance. So clearly, this is it's an important topic. It's critical, and it's necessary to continue to have the discussions. And so, what I'd like to do is invite Yesli Fuentes. She's the lead outreach and engagement program specialist from Western Youth Services up here, to join me and tell us a little bit about the significance of this designation.
Thank you so much. This proclamation for mental health really is a great step for us, as we are a community that this particular topic really brought us closer. And Western Youth Services, our mission is to advance awareness, cultivate that success, and strengthen communities by providing mental health services. And I would like for all of you to know that we are here for you if you need anything. We really are. We're a nonprofit. We are here for the community, and if you need anything, please feel free to reach out. And we are really close. And I'm so passionate about this topic because we want to reduce that stigma of mental health. It is okay to ask for help. It is okay to say, I'm not okay right now. I need some help. And especially with the tragic situation that is occurring right now, and our teens, our youth don't know how to express that, and for us to know the signs of suicide and what it is going on in our youth right now, what they're seeing, what they're watching. It is my mission to be here for the community and to offer our services. They are free to the community. Not a lot of people know that. We do offer free clinical support to our community, and we are here for you. Thank you.
So just briefly about them talking about mental health. I was going to go off because I was going to say, like, they don't really want to talk about it. Just due to the incident that happened 2 months ago. I'm gonna go ahead and say it because it needs to be said that a 13-year-old kid committed suicide at Don Juan Avila, the school in Aliso, Viejo, back in March. You can just, I'll put the link below of where you can read like more information about it. And if you check on our story, like when I did a Google search of just where to find the article, right next to it, it says Orange, California Fowler Gun Room Memorial Day weekend sale. So we're not here to promote, but it's just crazy of the fact that 13-year-old kid commits suicide, and we're having a Memorial Day weekend on a gun sale, and it's not your average, you know, shotgun going out to kill a deer. These guns definitely look like military SWAT. Like, I'm about to go in and do some stuff. So that's just real wow. But just talking about mental health, just thank you. I'm appreciative that they are talking about it, because that's what like No Fear OC Network is about, where we do say, you know, no fear in health, physically and mentally. The fact that, you know, they went to Western Youth Services, I think just due to the fact that of what occurred a couple months ago. But, you know, suicide rates is definitely getting higher. Like, I was definitely surprised, because I know for me personally, living in Orange County all my life, I definitely was very suicidal. And I was very surprised that, you know, just driving on the 55 a couple last year, that, you know, Children's Chalk, they actually promoted, you know, depression. So, you know, it has me a bit mad, just because this was something that wasn't talked about. But I'm also grateful that, you know, the youth are now getting that now, you know, just mental health, you know, mental illness, that's a condition. And so definitely go to Western Youth Services to learn more information about them. I've been doing like NAMI classes, so this is something that, and NAMI stands for National Alliance of Mental Illness. So this is something that definitely needs to continue to be talked about, you know, where we say hashtag ban hate, it's hashtag ban hate, you know, amongst ourselves. And what the county is doing is they're also doing, and through NAMI, is that they're doing this Be Well initiative. So where they're tackling, you know, mental health, where they're having it be all encompassed of one, where we don't go to separate, you know, providers or doctors. You know, if you have this, if you're suffering from a condition, here's this one service provider, and it's under this nonprofit called Mind OC. So definitely check them out to learn more information. But yeah, so Be Well initiative, they passed that, and I kind of looked into it, and I see that they don't really have like the police departments to in this initiative, and so they're wanting to try to include like all service providers, you know. So but also all those that are tackling mental health or trying to resolve the issue of it. So yeah, I don't want to, I can keep going, but I don't want to keep. Let's move on to the next just topic of discussion, which I'm gonna go ahead and just do the heartfelt presentation, because that's something that really needs to be talked about or looked into too, and help promote, I guess. Okay, peace.
Okay, we do have a presentation from a community partner and someone who's here with us tonight to talk a little bit about their program and an event that's coming up at Aliso High School. So I'd like to invite Holly Morrell on field. She's the founder and executive director of Heartfelt Cardiac Projects.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I always appreciate the opportunity to raise awareness to my heartfelt efforts. Heartfelt is a nonprofit organization, and we're dedicated to saving lives from sudden cardiac death through early detection, education, and increased public awareness. I can't ever have an opportunity like this without having a chance to provide maybe a little education that most of the public does not understand that heart attack and cardiac arrest are not the same thing. So if you think about it, you hear about these young, otherwise seemingly healthy, active kids dying on the playing field. It's because they're dying of cardiac arrest, and their parents, more often than not, had no idea that they could even be at risk because they're thinking heart attack, right? I'm not sure if you're aware that you've had several incidents here in Aliso, Viejo in recent years. There have been a couple miracles in Aliso Viejo in recent years. There was one young boy in particular that was playing basketball in the gym at Aliso Niguel High School, and he had full cardiac arrest during a practice. He was only 14 years old, and he was miraculously saved by an AED, which is an automatic external defibrillator that happened to be placed in that gym by another mother whose young 14-year-old daughter had died at Dana Hills High School. So because of this and our other screening efforts across Orange County, we do screen regularly at Aliso Niguel High School. In previous years, we've had great turnouts, and we've screened a lot of people, provided a lot of early detection. However, the last couple years, we have had a really difficult time in getting the word out. And why it's so important is because sudden cardiac death is the #1 killer in this country. It's the #1 killer of women. And many of you might not understand, but a young athlete dies every 3 days in this country from sudden cardiac arrest. And more often than not, it's a preventable tragedy. These happen to be some fresh faces of some young people that we've recently saved in just the last couple years. And then this is actually a video of one of those young girls that was saved that I'd like to play for you to share her story.
Allie has been playing tennis since she was in 3rd grade.
My name is Allie Yaga, and I'm 14 years old, and this is my story with Heartfelt.
My daughter was playing 2.5 to 3 hours of tennis every other night, and she had done every checkup, everything that I was supposed to do as a parent, and no one ever found this. I first heard about the heart screening through the tennis coach. They sent a flyer attached to an email if we wanted to have this done, that Heartfelt was actually coming to our high school. I thought that was so easy to do.
I'm so grateful that my high school actually gives me the opportunity to get my heart screened, and the fact that Heartfelt is an organization that they support there, that's where they told me I had WPW. After being told I had to go in for a procedure, I was kind of scared and nervous because I've never had one before. I didn't know what to expect. That's when I really just trusted everyone around me and the doctors to tell me what to do, and they made everything so calm and easy for me, and I'm so grateful for that. When they told me it was successful and everything worked well, I was so happy and so grateful that this wasn't a problem I'd have to deal with again, and that I can move on and that I can continue playing tennis. When I was playing and doing what I loved most, I wasn't worried about anything, especially my heart playing.
And she had a heart condition that I didn't know about, so why not be screened to know whether you have something or not?
And I'm so grateful other people can hear my story, because hopefully it'll influence them to get their heart checked, because it won't hurt you. If anything, it's the best thing you can do, and it can save your life, because it saved mine.
Like a drum, baby, don't stop beating. Like a drum, my heart never stops.
I'm so thankful to heartfelt, and especially Holly, because she really made this all happen. And if it wasn't for her, who knows where I'd be today. My name is Aliso, and I'm 14 years old, and this is my story with Heartfelt.
And if you see, young Megan Myers was the young girl that died at Dana Hills High School while running cross country for her school, and she was only 14 years old. Our screening is done through our nonprofit effort. We provide approximately $1,500 worth of comprehensive cardiac evaluation that includes a cardiac ultrasound called an echocardiogram, as well as an electrocardiogram or an EKG. These are the best two tools for detection for the general risks of cardiac arrest, and we offer that to the general public for a donation of $85 per person. We also, very important to understand that we screen adults. Again, I remind you that it's the #1 killer of Americans and women. So we do screen adults, and we screen children ages 5 and up. So as you can see here, we will actually be at Aliso High School this coming Tuesday, May 21st. We're in the library at the school. It's open to the public, all ages, again, 5 and up. And you can see by Allie's story that lives are saved through early detection. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to share this information with you, and I am sincerely in hopes that we could figure out some way to better communicate this to the Aliso Viejo community, because I always hear after the fact that people say, you know, they didn't know what was happening. So if there's a way that we wouldn't be solely dependent upon the school for the outreach, I would be eternally grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So Holly, what I'd like to do is get you to provide our city with a list of other high schools in the area, other cities that are participating in the screening, and then I will make it my effort to reach out to those other councils and let them know that this is coming to their city and how important it is, how critically important it is, so that gets communicated to those other cities and those other councils. I'd love to see the word get out so people see the importance of this and the value of the service that you're providing, and then also look forward to helping to spread the word about your event that's coming up right away at Aliso High School. So thank you very much, and Jim, thank you for introducing me to Holly and this very important mission that she's on. Thank you.
Okay, so just for the sake of time, that just look out for more information for Heartfelt Cardiac Project. I didn't know that was like the #1 killer, or I knew, but not in kids though, which is crazy. And also to if you want to learn about the Drowning Prevention Month, go to the city council meeting. I'll probably upload it, but I probably won't, just for the sake of time. But the #1 cause of drowning is lack of supervision for kids as well as our elders. So, you know, it's spring season, summertime is just around the corner, y'all. So but you know, it's not just in the pools and oceans that people be drowning in, it's also in the tubs. So please watch out, you know, for yourselves, but for the kids, but also for the elders. You know, we gotta protect them. You know, they know stuff that we don't know. Okay, y'all. And then just a quick announcement is that we have Board of Supervisors tomorrow morning at 9:30, but we also have Huntington Beach, La Habra, and Los Alamitos tonight. Oh my gosh, we have so much. And then also on Wednesday, just really quick, the Public Ed OC at the Old Orange County Courthouse at 4 p.m. that's happening tomorrow. And that's kind of about it. There's a kid that's suffering from a blood disorder. And so they're gonna be at the Tony pepperoni place. So they're gonna be at the Tony pepperoni place. So check out more information for that. Or go to the council member, who is it? Harrington? He was the one that promoted this or announced this during the city council. Okay, so for the sake of time, we're gonna go and just if you enjoyed the content presented today, please comment, rate, share, call, and or subscribe for upcoming content and feedback. We know that our recording, there was a lot of glitches, so this is definitely a rough cut, but it's something rather than nothing for now. But you know, we are looking for sponsorship, we are looking for just funding, even though we're not for profit. We are looking, if you're wanting, you know, better content, to hear us better, to hear the content better, we're definitely seeking in-kind donations, or just even help sponsor us in a laptop, like, you know. So okay, and so at the end of the day, we love to hear from our community locally and globally, and of what's happening in our ever-changing county, city, and world. We're searching for folks and volunteers for assistance on our new project. So if you're interested, please send us a message. Next on our agenda will be the Board of Supervisors meeting. Thank you. Peace.